Chapter 0. Metamorphosis por Franz Kafka. Chapter 1. Una morning, when Gregor Samsa woke up the bad dreams, él saw que él had changed en su bed en un very bad kind of bug. Él leyó en su back, que era hard like un shell. And if él moved su head up a little, él could see su brown stomach, que era a little round and was made of curved shell like ports. Las covers on la bed no podían really coverlo, and it looked like ellas would fall off soon. Él tenía many legs que eran very thin, and this was sad to see, because the rest de su body era so big. When él looked at las, ellas moved around, por él no podía controlarlas. What's happened me? Él thought. ¿No era un dream? Su room era una normal room para una person, but a little small, and era quiet between las four walls él knew well. Pieces de cloth para su work estaban en la table, as él estaba un man que traveled to sell things. Above la table, un picture él had recently cut de un magazine estaba en la wall, en un nice gold-colored frame. La picture showed un woman wearing un fur hat and un long fur scarf. Ella was sitting up straight and holding un big piece of fur up toward the person looking, and it covered the whole lower part de su arm. Gregor then turned and looked out el window al gray, sad weather. Él could hear rain hitting el window glass, and this made him feel very sad. Él thought, what if you sleep a little longer and forget all estas strange things? But él could not do that, because él always slept on su right side, and in su body now, él could not move to lie that way. Él tried very hard to move on to su right side, but every time él did, él rolled back to where él started. Él tried it maybe 100 times, closing sus eyes para él would not have to see sus legs move in un strange way. Él only stopped when he began to feel un small, no sharp pain there that él had never felt before. Oh Dios, él thought, qué a hard job you have chosen, going from place to place, day after day. Doing este kind of work is mucho harder than working at home. I also love very bad things for traveling. To worry for getting the next train, la food is bad and to eat at different times, and tú estás always con new people, so you can never know those well or ser friends. Ello puede all go a un very bad place. Él felt una small need to scratch su stomach. Él slowly moved su back up toward el part de la bed behind su head, but él could see better. He found el place and saw que tenía many small white spots on it, and he did not know qué eran. When he tried to touch el place con una de sus legs, él pulled it back very fast because una cold feeling went all through su body. Él moved back at the way he was lying before. Él thought, waking up early every day makes una person stupid. Tú need tener enough sleep. Other men que travel to sell things tienen una very easy life con many good things.
From yo go back to the place where yo stay en los morning to write los business papers, estos other men están still sitting and eating su first meal del día. You should try to do that con el man yo work para. Él would tell me to leave my job right then, but maybe that sería una very good thing para mí. If yo no tuviera que think in my parents, yo would have said yo was leaving este work a long time ago. Yo would have gone to the boss and told Le lo que yo really think and feel. Él estaría so surprised él would fall de su desk. Y es un strange thing to sit high up in un desk and talk down to la people que work para tú, especially when tú tienes que go very close de él because él no puede hear well. Well, yo still tenga some hope. When yo tenga ole el money to pay lo que my parents ole, yo will do it for sure, but yo think it will take another 5 or 6 years. Is when yo will make el big change in my life. But first, yo tengo que get out of bed. My train leaves a las 5. And he looked over at la alarm clock on the chest of drawers que was making un ticking sound. Oh my God, él thought. Eran 6:30 and las hands del clock were moving forward without un sound. Eran even later que 6:30, almost 6:45. No el alarm clock ring? From su bed, él could see la clock was set para las 4, which era la right time, so él must have made un sound. Yes, but podría anyone sleep con un noise so loud que it made things in the room shake? It was true that él had not slept well, but maybe por that, él had slept very, very deeply. ¿Qué should él do now? The next train left a las 7. To get on a él tendría que move very fast, pero sus samples no estaban en su bag yet, and he did not feel good or full the energy at all. And even if él got on the train, su boss would still be angry, because the office helper would have seen the 5 o'clock train leave and would have told the boss a long time ago que Gregor no estaba there. El office helper always did lo que el boss wanted. Él no era un brave man, and he did not understand other people. What if él said él estaba sick? But that sería very strange and make people think something was wrong, because in 5 years de work, Gregor había never estado sick even una time. Su boss would surely come a su house con el company's doctor. Él would tell the Gregor parents que su son estaba lazy and would agree con el doctor que Gregor estaba not really sick, because que doctor believed no one was ever truly sick, only que many people did not want to work. And besides, ¿habría sido completely wrong que él to think that? In truth, Gregor felt completely well and was even much more hungry than usual. Él estaba only very sleepy because él had slept for so long. Él estaba still thinking and all lesto very fast and no podía decide to get out of bed when el clock made un sound a 7:15. There was a soft and careful knock on the door near su head. Gregor, su mother called. Es 7:15.
No, do you want to go somewhere? Su voice era so soft y kind. Gregor estaba very surprised when él heard su own voice answer. Era very hard to know que era la same voice él tenía before. Un painful, high sound que él could not control came from deep inside de él and mixed with su voice. At first, las words eran clear, but then la sound made them hard to understand, so la person listening was not sure if they had heard correctly. Gregor wanted to give una full answer and explain everything, but because of lo que was happening, él only said, "Yes, mother, yes, thank you, estoy getting up now." Su mother believed lo que él said and walked away slowly, so it seems que la change in su voice could not be heard through la wooden door. But esta short talk made las other people de su family know que Gregor estaba still at home, lo que ellos did not expect. Soon, su father came a una de las side doors and knocked in ella, no hard, but con su closed hand. "Gregor, Gregor," called él. "What's wrong?" Y after a little time, él called again con una low voice que sounded like una warning. "Gregor, Gregor." En la other side door, su sister said con una sad and worried voice, "Gregor, ¿no estás well? Do you need anything?" Gregor answered both of them. "Yo estoy ready now." Él tried hard to make su voice sound normal by saying each word very clearly and waiting a long time between las words. Su father went back a su breakfast, but su sister whispered, "Gregor, open la door. I ask you, please." Gregor, however, did not think in opening las door. Instead, él felt good about una careful thing él always did, que él learned traveling. Él always locked all las doors at night, even when él estaba at home. La first thing él wanted to do era get up quietly, without being bothered, put on su clothes, and most important, have his breakfast. Only after that will él think in qué to do next, because él knew él no podía make good decisions while lying in bed. Él remembered que él había often felt un little pain in bed, maybe the lying in a bad way, but it había always sido just in su mind, and él wondered how estos strange thoughts will go away today. Él era very sure de que el change in su voice era only el start de un bad cold, which era un common problem for men que travel for su work. Era easy to push las covers off. Él only tenía que fill su body con a little air and ellas fell off on their own. But after that, fue hard because su body era very wide. Él wanted to use his arms and hands to push himself up, but instead él only tenía many little legs that were always moving the different ways, and él could not controllas. Si él tried to bend una leg, que leg will go straight instead. And when he was finally able to control like que one leg, all the other legs started to move on their own. In a way hurt. Gregor thought to himself, "Yo no puedo hacer esto en bed, so you should stop trying."
First, él wanted to move la bottom part de su body out of la bed, but él had never seen esta part y could not think de what it looked like. Era very hard to move y se moved very slowly. Finally, feeling wild, él pushed himself forward as hard as él podía, but él fue the wrong way and hit la hard part at the bottom of la bed. El strong hot pain él felt showed him que esta bottom part de su body era now la part que could feel pain the most. So él tried to move la top de su body out of la bed first, y él carefully turned su head outside. Él hizo esto very easily, and even though la main part de su body era wide and heavy, esta slowly followed su head. But when él finally got su head fuera de la bed, él knew que si él fell, su head sería badly hurt. Por esto, él was afraid to keep pushing su body forward in the same way. Él knew él must not hit su head so hard que él no pudiera think anymore. Era better to stay in bed que to let that happen. Era just as hard to move back a where él estaba before. As él lay there, breathing out slowly, él watched sus legs again as ellas fought against each other even harder que before, and él did not know cómo to stop este mess. Él thought again que él no podía stay in bed y que the smartest thing que hacer era to get out de ella, no matter how él lo hiciera o qué it cost él. But at the same time, él remembered que era much better to think slowly and carefully que to quickly do something bad because él felt hopeless. When él felt like this, él would look a la window to see outside, but era una bad thing que la morning fog covered everything, so lo que él saw did not make him feel good or hopeful. Él heard el clock hacer su sound again and said to himself, 7 o'clock, already. 7 o'clock and I still una fog como esta. Él lay there quietly for a little longer, breathing softly, como si él hoped que si everything estaba completely still, things would go back a la way ella should be. But then, él thought, yo must be completely out of bed before sean 15 minutes after 7, and by that time, someone de my work will come to my house to ask for me, because my workplace opens before 7 o'clock. So él tried to move su whole body out of the bed en un single move. Si él podía fall out of the bed como esto and hold su head up, él podría probably not hurt su head. Su back felt very hard, so él probably would not be hurt si él fell onto la carpet. Su biggest worry era las loud sound él would surely make, que people will hear even con the doors closed y que los haría worried or even afraid. But tenía que take the risk. When half de su body era already out of the bed, él thought en lo easy que sería si someone came to help him. Esta new way de moving era more como un game que hard work. Él only tenía que move su body from side to side. 2 strong people serían enough. Él was thinking in sus father and the woman que worked para ellos.
Ellos would only need to put sus arms under sus round back, lift him de la bed, bend down while holding him, y then ser slow and careful as ellos moved him at the floor, where él hoped sus small legs could start to work. But era una good idea to ask for help when él knew all las doors were locked. Even con all las bad things happening to him, él could not stop himself from smiling cuando él tuvo this thought. After some time, él had moved so far to one side que era hard para él to stay without falling si él moved su body too much. Era now 10 minutes after 7, y él tenía to decide qué hacer very soon. Then, someone rang la bell en la door de su home. Él thought, that must be someone de my work. Y él stopped moving completely, but sus small legs started to move around even faster. Por un short time, everything estaba quiet. Gregor thought, ellos están no opening la door, y él felt una hope que did not make any sense. But then, as always, la woman que worked there walked con strong steps a la door y opened la. As soon as Gregor heard el first words el visitor said, él knew que era el chief clerk de su work. ¿Por qué era él el only one con el bad fate to work por una company where people at once thought very bad things de ti por el smallest mistake? ¿Eran all la people que worked para la company bad? No había even una person que cared so much por su work que él would feel very bad inside si él did not spend a few hours por la morning haciendo work para la company, so bad que él no podía even get out of bed. No era enough to send un new worker para hacer questions si questions eran even needed. Did el chief clerk have to come himself? Y did ellos have to show el whole family que had done nothing wrong, que esta thing era so bad que only el boss era smart enough to look into it? Él moved sus body out of la bed con all sus power, mostly because sus thoughts had made him feel bad, no because él hubiera really decided hacerlo. Había un heavy sound, but no era not un very loud sound. La soft thing en el floor hizo su fall less hard, y su back podía also bend more de lo que él knew. Because of estas things, el sound fue quiet y no easy to hear. But él no fue careful enough con su head, y él hitla cuando él fell. Él felt unhappy and hurt, so él turned su head and moved la against el soft thing en el floor. El chief clerk en la room a la left said, "Something fell down in there." Gregor tried to think si una thing como lo que happened to him today podría ever happen al chief clerk too. Él tenía to agree que era possible. But then, como una rough answer a sus question, Gregor could hear el chief clerk's strong steps and sus very shiny boots in the next room. From el room a su right, de Gregor, sister whispered to tell him, "Gregor, el chief clerk está here." Sí, yo know, Gregor said to himself, but él was afraid to speak loud enough para que su sister to hearlo.
Gregor, su father now said de el room en su left. El chief clerk de tu work has come here y wants to know por qué tú did not go en el early train. Nosotros no know que tú saile. And he wants to speak to you himself. So please open esta door. You am sure él will not mind que tu room no está clean. Then el chief clerk called. Good morning, Señor Samsa. Él no está well, su mother said al chief clerk while su father kept speaking through la door. Él está no well, please believe me. Él would only miss un train because él no está well. The young man always thinks en su work. It almost makes me angry que él never goes out at night. Él ha estado en esta town for una week, but he has stayed home every night. Él sits con nosotros in the kitchen and only reads el newspaper or looks at papers con train times. When he wants to rest, él works con su small saw para cutting wood. For example, él hizo un small frame and only 2 or 3 nights, and tú will be surprised to see how good está. Está en la wall en su room, and tú will see it when Gregor opens la door. Anyway, yo estoy happy tea are here. Nosotros could not hacer que Gregor open la door without tea because él no hará lo que nosotros ask. And you am sure él está sick, even though él said esta morning que él estaba well. Yo estaré there very soon, Gregor said, slowly, thinking in sus words, but he did not move because he wanted to hear every word they were saying. Yo do not know qué else to think about esto, señora Samsa, said the chief clerk. Yo hope sea no un big problem, but yo must also say esto. Para people in business, si nosotros feel a little sick, nosotros tenemos que keep working, because el work is importante. You can say esto is good or bad, but it is lo que nosotros must hacer. ¿Puede la chief clerk come in casita now? Su father asked again, knocking en la door, because he did not want to wait any longer. No, said Gregor. En la room a su right, estaba quiet in a way que felt bad, and en la room a su left, su sister started to cry. So, ¿por qué his sister no fue a estar con the other people? Ella had maybe just gotten out of bed and had not started to put on su clothes yet. And ¿por qué was he crying? ¿Estaba ella crying because he had not gotten up and had not let the chief clerk come in? Era because he might lose su work, and if that happened, su boss would again ask sus parents for el money they owed? Era too soon to worry for those things. Gregor estaba still there, and he did not want to leave su family at all. For now, él was just lying on el floor, and no person can knew what was wrong with him would really think he should let el chief clerk come in. Era only una small, not nice thing to do, and they could find a good reason for it later. No era el kind of thing que haría que su boss tell him to leave su work right away. Gregor thought era una better idea to leave him alone now and not make him feel bad by talking to him and crying.
But la other people did not know lo que was happening y ellas were worried y that era una good reason para la way ellas were acting. El chief clerk now spoke in a loud voice. Señor Samsa, he said to him, ¿qué is wrong? Tú lock yourself to the door and only answer con sí or no. Tú estás haciendo tu parents very worried for no good reason. Y yo will also say esto. Tú no estás haciendo tu work de una way que anyone has ever seen before. Yo am speaking de tus parents y de la man de tu work de, and I must ask them to tell me la reason de esto right now, in a way que is easy to understand. Yo estoy very surprised. Very surprised. Yo thought you were una quiet person, que thinks in a good way, but now tú estás suddenly acting on strange ideas for no reason. It's true de que this morning, the man you work for said que could haber una reason por la que you did not come. Él said it was about la money de que was given to you not long ago. But you almost gave him my most serious promise de que this no podía ser la true reason. But now que yo CT will not change your mind for reasons no one puede understand, yo do not want to speak por ti or help you at all. Y tu job is not very safe either. Yo wanted to say esto ti when nosotros estábamos alone, but tú estás haciendo me use my time here for no good reason. So yo think tus parents should hearlo too. How much you have sold recently is no good enough. You know, esto es no un good time the year to sell many things. Nosotros understand eso. Pero señor Samsa, I never un time the year to sell nothing at all, and nosotros no podemos let that happen. But sir, Gregor called, so worried que he forgot todo else. Yo will open the door right now, just one moment. Yo feel a little sick. Yo feel like todo is turning around, and yo no he podido get up. I'm still in bed now. Me feel much better now, though. I'm just getting out of bed. Just a moment. Be patient. Esto es more difficult de lo que I thought it would be. Yo feel very good now, though. It's very surprising lo que can happen a una person so fast. Yo was feeling very good last night. My parents know about esto, maybe even more que yo do. As yo already tuve una small sign de elo last night, yo am sure ellos solo. I do not know por qué I did not tell ti in work, but people always think que puede get better de being sick without staying at home. Please, do not cause my parents pain. There is no reason para las bad things you are saying. No one has ever said anything a me about esto. Maybe to have not read los nuevos contracts que yo sent. I will also leave en la 8 o'clock train. This short time the rest has made me feel strong again. You do not need to wait, sir. Yo estaré en la office soon after you. Please, tell the boss esto, and please say good things de mí a él. As Gregor said estas words very fast, not really knowing qué él was saying, él moved to la big box con drawers.
Esto fue easy para él. Maybe porque él había hecho something like it before in su bed, y now él tried to stand up straight. Él wanted very much to open el door, and él wanted them to see him and to speak con el chief clerk. Las other people kept telling him que lo hiciera, and él wanted to know what they would say when they saw him. Si ellos estaban very surprised and afraid when ellos solo, then él no tendría que hacer anything more, and he could rest. But si ellos no estaban surprised or afraid, él would have no reason para feel bad, and si él moved fast, él could still get to la station para 8 o'clock. La first few times él tried to get on top of la smooth box, él fell down, but then él gave un last strong push con su body and stood up straight. La bottom part de su body hurt very much, but él did not think in ello anymore. Now él moved su body so he was resting on la back de una chair que estaba near él, and he held las sides de la chair very hard con sus small legs. Él now felt more quiet inside, and él no hizo un sound para él could hear lo que el chief clerk was saying. Did you understand any de sus words? The chief clerk asked sus parents. Él is not trying to hacernos look stupid, is he? Oh, Dios, su mother said in a loud voice, and ella was already crying. Él podría estar very sick, and nosotros are causing him pain. Then she cried out, Grete! Grete! Mother, su sister called from the other side. Ellos spoke to each other through the Gregor room. Tú must eat and get the doctor right now. Gregor está sick. Quick, get our doctor. Did you hear los way Gregor spoke just now? Ese era lo sound de un animal, said los chief clerk, and su voice era quiet, very different de los mother's loud cries. Ana? Ana, sus father called from the front room to the kitchen, heading his hands together. Get a person here now can open una locked door. And la two girls ran out right away through the front room, su clothes haciendo un soft sound as they moved, and pulled the front door de su home open con force as they left. ¿Cómo era su sister pudo put su clothes so fast? Elle did not hear la door close con un loud sound, so ellos must have left it open. People often hace eso in homes where una very bad thing has happened. But Gregor estaba now much more quiet in su mind, so ellos no podían understand sus words anymore, but él thought eran clear, even clearer que before. Maybe esto era because sus ears had become used to a sound.
but ellos knew que something estaba no right con él, and ellos estaban ready to help. La first way ellos acted about lo que was happening le fue sure and good, and eso made him feel better. Él felt like él era con people again. Él thought el doctor and the man que works con locks would do very good and surprising things, but él did not really know which man era which. Lo que was said next would be very important, so para hacer su voice como clear como él pudiera, él coughed a little.
Él was careful de no hacerlo too loud because él thought even su cough might sound different de a person's cough, y él was not sure él could know esto for himself anymore. At the same time, estaba now very quiet in the other room. Maybe sus parents estaban sitting en la table y talking in a very quiet way con la chief clerk. Or maybe ellos estaban todos standing very close to la door to hear lo que estaba happening. Gregor slowly pushed-se a la door con la chair. When él estaba there, él let go and put su body on la door. Él stayed up by using sus sticky parts en los ends de sus legs. Él rested there for a short time para get his strength back del hard work, and then él started to turn the key en la lock con su mouth. Sadly, it seemed él no tenía real teeth, so ¿cómo podía él hold el key? But instead of teeth, él tenía un very strong jaw. Using su jaw, él pudo start turning el key. Él did not pay attention to the fact that él was hurting himself. Y un brown liquid came from su mouth, went over el key, and fell onto el floor. "Listen," said la chief clerk in the other room. "Está turning la key." Esto hizo sentir a Gregor very hopeful. But todos ellos should have been shoutingle. Su father and su mother too. Ellos should have shouted, "Good work, Gregor, keep doing it, keep holding the lock." Because él thought ellos estaban toda watchinglo and feeling happy in su work. Él beat el key con toda su power and did not think en el pain él was causing himself. When la key turned, su body turned con la door around the lock. Él used only su mouth to hold himself up, and he held on to la key or pushed la down con the full weight de su body when he needed to. When Gregor heard the loud sound de la lock opening, él knew él could stop trying so hard. As él started to breathe again, él said to himself, "So, I did not need al man que fixes locks after all." Then él put su head en la door handle to open la door del todo. Because él opened la door like this, la door estaba already open very wide before anyone could see-lo. First, él tenía que slowly y very carefully turn su body around one of the two doors because él did not want to fall on his back before going into the room. While él estaba still busy con this difficult move and no podía pay attention to anything else, él heard al chief clerk say un loud "Oh!" que sounded like el wind blowing. Now él also saw the man who was closest to the door. Su man's hand was pressed on su open mouth y él was slowly moving back, como si something que could not be seen was pushing him away. Gregor's mother looked at su father. Su hair estaba still messy from bed, even though al chief clerk estaba there. Then she unfolded su arms, took 2 steps toward Gregor, and sank al floor. Sus skirts spread out around her, and su head fell down onto su chest. Su father looked angry and made his hands into fists, como si he wanted to hit Gregor to make him go back a su room.
Then él looked around la living room como si él did not know qué hacer, covered su eyes con sus hands, y cried so hard que su strong chest shook. So Gregor did not go in la room, but instead leaned against la inside de la other door que estaba still locked. Because él stood this way, people podía only see half de su body and su head above él, which él leaned to one side to look out at the others. At the same time, se estaba haciendo lighter outside. Se podía now clearly see part del very long, dark gray building across the street que estaba un hospital, con su straight line de plain windows in la front. La rain estaba still falling, but now eran big, single drops que hit el ground una a una. Los dirty dishes del morning meal estaban on el table. Había many de ellos because for the Gregor father, el morning meal era the most important one del día. and he would make it last for many hours as he read different papers. En la wall, en la other side, había una picture de Gregor de cuando él era un officer en la army. He was holding su sword y tenía una happy smile en su face, como si él no tuviera troubles. And la way él stood in sus special clothes made people respect law. La door del hall estaba open, and because la main door de las Flor estaba also open, él could see out to las place en las top de las stairs y see las stairs as ellas started to go down. Now, said Gregor, knowing very well que él era the only one que no estaba upset, yo will put my clothes on right now, put las things I sell in my bag, and miré, will tú please just let me leave? You can see, he said al chief clerk, que yo soy not someone que will not change his mind, and yo want hacer my work. Ir a different places to sell things is very hard work, pero si yo no hago lo, yo no puedo get money to live. So where are you going now? A la office? Sí. Then will tú tell us todo just the way it happened? It's possible for un person to be unable to work for a short time, but ¿qué es el best time to remember el good work él ha hecho before and to know que after the trouble is gone, él will for sure work much harder and pay more attention as work? To know very well que yo owe a lot of money para our boss y que yo also tengo que take care of my parents and my sister. So yo estoy en una very bad situation, pero yo will work hard para get out of ella. Please do not make my life more difficult de lo que it already is, y en our place of work, no te unas a los others against me. Yo know que no one likes la people que travel por work. Ellos think nosotros make una very large amount de money y que nosotros tenemos una easy life. Ellos think estas bad things por no good reason, y ellos tienen no special reason to change como ellos think about nosotros. But you, sir, you understand las toda situation better de lo que las other workers. In fact, si yo puedo say esto just between us, you understand it better de lo que las boss himself.
Es very easy para un man como él to think wrong things about those people que work for him, and to think they son worse de lo que they really son. Tú also know very well que nosotros juntamos para que work are away de here para que almost todo el year. Por esto, es very easy para que people to say bad things de nosotros que no son true, o para que bad things to happen a nosotros for no reason. Es almost not possible para nosotros to say que estas things no son true, because nosotros usually do not even hear de ellas. Si nosotros do hear de ellas, it's only when nosotros come back home very tired in our work, and that is when nosotros feel those bad results of lo que has happened, without even knowing por qué happened. Please, do not go. First, please say something to show que tú agree que some of the lo que I am saying is true. But el chief clerk turned to irse al same moment que Gregor started to speak. Él se iba en lo same moment que Gregor started to speak. Él se iba and looked back at Gregor over sus shaking shoulders con sus lips pushed out. While Gregor was talking, la man did not stop moving for even one moment. Él kept walking toward la door and never stopped looking at Gregor. Él moved very slowly, como si hubiera un strange rule que said él no podía leave la room. When él got to the hall por la front door, él moved very fast, pulled su foot out the living room, and ran forward because él was very afraid. En las hall, él put su right hand out far towards the stairs, como si hubiera un strange power there waiting to help him. Gregor knew that he could not let el chief clerk go away feeling this way, because si él lo hacía, su job would certainly be in very great danger. Sus parents did not understand este well. After many years, ellos had come to think que este job would give Gregor lo que él needed para toda de su life. Also, ellos tenían many bad things to think about now, so ellos had stopped thinking about what would happen later. But Gregor did think en lo que would happen later. Someone tenía que stop el chief clerk, make him feel calm, make him believe, and in the end, hacer que estuviera on their side. Que pasaría a Gregor y su family era because of esto. Él wanted su sister que estuviera there very much. Ella estaba smart. Ella estaba already crying when Gregor was still lying on his back in a calm way. And el chief clerk liked women, so Gregor was sure ella podía hacerle change his mind. Ella could close the front door in the hall and say things less so he would not feel so bad and surprised. but su sister no estaba there, so Gregor tuvo que hacerlo himself. Él did not think que él did not know how to move su new body or que people probably would not understandlo. Él let go of la door and pushed himself out. Él tried ir to el Chief Clerk, who was holding the stair handrail con both hands in a strange way. But Gregor fell down right away. Él hizo un small sharp sound as él tried to hold something, and it landed at sus many small legs.
Right after que happened, for the first time que ve, él started to feel okay in sus body. Sus small legs estaban firm on el floor. Esto lo hizo happy because ellas hicieron lo que él wanted them to do. Ellas were even trying to carry him where él wanted to go, and él started to believe que todos sus troubles would soon be over. Él stopped himself to moving, but su body moved from side to side as él stayed low on el floor. Su mother estaba near él in front. At first, it looked like ella was lost in her own thoughts, but then ella suddenly jumped up, put her arms out con sus fingers open wide, and shouted, "Help! Please help!" Por el way ella held ella head, it looked like ella wanted to see Gregor better. But el way ella moved back quickly without thinking showed que ella no. Ella had forgotten que el table con el breakfast things estaba behind ella. When ella reached el table, ella sat down in ella's fast, not knowing qué ella estaba haciendo. Ella did not seem to see que el coffee pot was pushed over and a lot of coffee was falling onto el floor. "Mother, mother," Gregor said softly, looking up a ella. At that moment, él had forgotten todo about el chief clerk. But when él saw el coffee falling, él no pudo stop sus jaws de hacer un sharp closing sound en el air. Eso hizo su mother start screaming again. Ella ran away de la table and to his father's arms as él ran to ella. But Gregor no tenía time to think in sus parents now. El chief clerk estaba already on the stairs. Con su chin on the handrail, él looked back una last time. Gregor ran towards el boss because él wanted to make sure él podía get to él. El chief clerk must have known something was going to happen as él jumped down many steps very fast and disappeared. Sus loud shouts could be heard all around the stairs. El chief clerk running away fue una bad thing because eso also made the Gregor father very afraid. Before this, su father había estado mostly calm, but now, instead of going after el chief clerk or letting Gregor ir, su father took el chief clerk's stick de un chair where it was left con un hat and coat. Él took el stick in su right hand and un big newspaper de el table in su left. Él used los dos para hacer que Gregor volviera a su room, hitting the floor hard con su foot. Las things Gregor hizo to ask su father for help did not work because su father did not understand the law. No matter how much Gregor moved his head in a quiet way, su father only hit el floor con su foot even harder. In the other side of the room, the Gregor mother opened una window, even though la air outside estaba cold. Ella put her body far out of la window and put her hands on her face. A lot of strong wind came from the street and fue towards el stairs. The curtains flew up, los papers on el table moved quickly, and some of them were blown onto el floor. The Gregor father would not stop pushing him back, and él hacía un sound like a wild man. Gregor did not know cómo to move backwards, so él podía only ir very slowly.
Si Gregor pudiera just turn around, él could get into su room very fast. But él was afraid to take el time para hacerlo, because él thought su father would get angry. At any moment, él thought su father might hit him con el stick in su back or head, and que el hit could kill him. After some time, Gregor knew él tenía que hacer something else. Él felt bad when él saw que él no podía move backwards in una straight line at all. So, él started to turn su body around as fast as he could. And as él turned, él kept looking at su father because él was afraid. Él moved very slowly, but maybe su father saw que él was trying to hacer una good thing because él did not get in his way. Sometimes, su father even used el end de su stick from far away to show him where ir. Él wished su father would stop hacer ese very bad hissing sound. El sound estaba haciendo it very hard para Gregor to think. Él was almost done turning around, but él was still listening to el hissing sound and made a mistake, turning back a little the way él had come. Él estaba happy when su head estaba finally in front el open door, but then él saw el space no era wide enough para que su body to go through without more trouble. Because of como él was feeling, su father clearly did not think to open la second door para hacer enough room para que Gregor to go through. Él podía only think about una thing, getting Gregor back in su room very fast. Él also would not have given Gregor la time to stand up straight to get ready to go through the door. Instead, su father hizo more noise than ever and pushed Gregor forward con more force, como si nothing hubiera in his way. A Gregor, él sounded como si more than un father hubiera behind him. No era una good feeling, and Gregor pushed himself into la open door without thinking en lo que might happen to him. Uno side de su body went up, y él no estaba straight en el open door. Uno de sus sides rubbed hard against el white door and was hurt very badly, leaving bad-looking brown marks on it. Soon él no podía move at all by himself. Las small legs on one side were shaking in el air, while el legs on the other side were pushed against the ground in a way that hurt. Then su father pushed lo very hard de behind. Esto made him free de where él was stuck and sent lo moving fast a su room while losing a lot of blood. Su father closed el door very hard con el stick, and then after that, todo estaba quiet. Chapter 2. Gregor did not wake up from su very deep sleep, que era como being dead, until it started to get dark that evening. Él iba a wake up soon anyway, even if nothing hubiera hecho un sound, because él had slept enough and felt strong again. But él thought que él woke up because él heard someone walking fast and then heard el sound de la door de la front room being closed quietly. The weak light de el street outside came into el room and touched some parts de el ceiling and el tops de el things in el room, but en el floor where él estaba dark.
Él moved su body toward las door to find qué had happened there. Feeling the way badly con las long feelers en su head, que él was starting to know eran very good de tener. Todo of the left part de su body felt como una big, painful mark being hurt, y él no podía walk well on sus two lines de legs. Una de sus legs was hurt very badly por lo que had happened que morning, y él tenía que pull la behind él como si estuviera dead. Fue una very good y surprising thing que only una of these legs was hurt. When él got to el door, él knew qué le había hecho ir there. Era el smell de something to eat. Near de la door, había un bowl full of milk con sugar in it, y small pieces de white bread were floating on top. Él estaba so happy él almost laughed, because él estaba more hungry que él estaba por la morning, y él at once put sus head in la milk so deep que it almost covered sus eyes. But él soon pulled su head back, because él no estaba happy. El pain en su soft left side hacía it hard to eat, as él podía only eat si su todo body moved together to get la food. Also, la milk did not taste good at all. This kind of milk era usually la drink él liked the most, y él was sure su sister put la there para él por ese reason. But even though una part de él did not want to, él turned away from la bowl and went back to la middle of the room. Through un small open space in la door, Gregor could see que la gas light in la living room was on. At this time of day, su father usually sat con su evening newspaper and read lo in a loud voice at a Gregor mother and sometimes a su sister. But now, todo estaba quiet. The Gregor sister often wrote le and told le about su father reading el paper, but maybe su father had stopped doing eso lately. Era also very quiet everywhere, even though él was sure someone estaba en la home. La family tiene such un quiet life, Gregor said to himself. As él looked into la dark, él felt very proud because él was able to give a sus sister y parents un life como esa en un very good home. But ¿qué would happen si todo esta good, easy life con many things ended de una very bad, scary way? Gregor did not want to think en eso too much, so él started to move por la room, crawling up and down. One time during esa long evening, someone opened la door en un side de la room, just una little, then closed it again very fast. Un short time after, la same thing happened con la other door. It looked like someone wanted to come in, but then decided que era no a good idea. Gregor fue a la door right away and waited. Él decided él would either find una way to make the scared person come in or at least learn who era. But la door did not open again esa night, and él waited for nothing. La morning before, when las doors were locked, todos wanted to come in a él. But now, after él had opened una door y las other had clearly been unlocked during last day, no one came, y las keys estaban on the other side de las doors.
La light in la other room was not turned off until very late the night. Now, era easy to know que sus parents y sister had been awake todo ese time, because él could hearlos very clearly as ellos todos walked away quietly together. Él knew que no one would come a su room again before la morning. Esto gave him a lot of time to think with no one there to bother him about cómo él needed to change su life. Él did not know por qué, por el big, empty room, esa él could not live made him feel uncomfortable as él laid flat on el floor, even though él had lived en esa room for 5 years. Él was not really thinking en lo que él estaba haciendo, and only felt a little shame as él moved quickly under the couch. La couch pushed down on su back a little, and él could not lift su head más. But still, él felt comfortable right away. La only thing él felt bad for era que su body era too wide to fit all the way under él. Él spent la toda night there. Some of the time, él slept a little, but él often woke up feeling afraid because él estaba so hungry. The rest of the time, él worried y tenía hopes que no eran clear. But todos sus thoughts always came to la same idea. For now, él must be calm and patient and think very much en su family para que ellos could live con la bad situation él was forced to make para ellos. Gregor soon tuvo una chance to see how strong sus new thoughts eran. Very early la next morning, when la night estaba almost over, su sister, who estaba almost fully dressed, opened the door de la front room and looked in con worry. Ella did not see-lo at first, but when ella saw-lo under the couch, ella estaba so surprised que ella lost control of herself and quickly closed the door very hard. After all, él tenía que estar somewhere. Él no podría have just gone away in the air. But ella seemed to feel bad por lo que ella hizo, because ella opened la door again right away. Ella walked in very quietly on her toes, como si ella was going into la room de una very sick person or even una person she did not know. Gregor had moved su head forward to the very sidey couch, and él watchedla. Would ella see que él had left la milk, know que él era still hungry, and bring él some other food que era better para él? Si ella did not bring the other food on her own, él would choose to be hungry instead of making her see que él wanted it. But at the same time, él tenía una very strong feeling that él wanted to run out from under el couch, fall down at su sister's feet, and ask her again and again for something good to eat. But su sister saw el full dish right away. Ella looked at it and a little bits the milk and el flour around it, and ella seemed a little surprised. Immediately, she picked it up con un piece of cloth, no con sus hands, and took it out de la room. Gregor wanted very much to know lo que ella would bring instead, and he thought of many strange things, but él could not have known lo que su sister, who era una good person, really did bring.
To seek a food he liked, ella brought him many different kinds of things, todos put out on an old paper. Había old vegetables que were starting to go bad, bones de la night's food con hard white sauce on ellos, a few dry grapes and nuts, some cheese que Gregor had said no era not good to eat 2 days before, and dry piece de bread con butter and salt. Ella also put some water in la small bowl, which era probably now only for him to use, and put it on next to la food. Then, because ella was thinking in sus feelings and knew él will not eat in front of ella, ella left la room quickly. Ella even locked la door para que él knew él podía hacer lo que él wanted but estar comfortable. The Gregor's small legs moved very fast. At last, él podía eat. Also, los places donde él was hurt must be all better now, because no era not hard para él to move. Él estaba very surprised por esto, because más de un month before, él había hecho un small cut en su finger con un knife and remembered que it was still hurting just 2 days ago. Do you feel things less now que before? Él thought, and él was already eating la cheese con great want. Él had wanted it right away con un very strong feeling, much más que la other food. Él ate la cheese, la vegetables y la sauce very fast, one after the other, y water came de sus eyes because él felt so good. But él did not like la new food at all, and él put la food él wanted away de ella because él did not like su smell. After él finished eating, él lay in the same place for a long time without moving. Su sister then slowly turned la key in la door to show him que él should go back. Even though él estaba almost sleeping, él estaba suddenly surprised and afraid, and él went back under el couch very fast. But él tenía que try very hard to make himself stay there for la short time su sister estaba en la room. Eating so much food había hecho su body a little bigger, and él found it very hard to breathe in ese small place. Él felt like él no podía breathe, and él watched con sus eyes wide open as su sister, acting like fuera una normal thing que hacer, took una broom and cleaned up la food que was left. Ella put it together con la food él had not eaten, como si none of it fuera good to use anymore. Ella quickly put lo todo en un bin, closed la bin con su wood top, and carried lo todo out of the room. As soon as ella turned away, Gregor came out from under el couch and stretched su body. Esta era la way Gregor got su food every day now. Él got la una time por la morning when su parents and la house workers estaban still sleeping. Él got la un second time after la middle of the day meal when su parents would also sleep for a short time and su sister would send the house worker fuera a hacer something. Su father and mother did not want lo to die de no tener food, but maybe era too hard para ellos to see lo eat. Maybe ellos could only hear de ello. And maybe su sister wanted to keep them from feeling más bad things because they were already feeling bad enough.
Sahirgo could not find out que su family had told la doctor y la man que works con logs para hacerlos irse la home en esa first morning. Because no one could understandlo. No one, not even su sister, thought que él could understandlos. So él had to be okay with just hearing su sister hacer sad sounds y say prayers a holy people as ella moved around su room. After some time, ella got a little more used to todo, but ella could never feel completely normal about it. Then, sometimes Gregor would hearla say something que sounded kind. For example, when él eat todo de su food, ella might say, ¿A él liked su food today? Or, si él left most de la food, which happened more and more over time, ella would often say sadly, now todo is left here again. Even though no one told Gregor any news, él listened to many things que were said in the other rooms. Whenever él heard people talking, él would run fast to la right door y press su whole body against ella. Especially at first, ellos almost always talked de él in some way, even if ellos tried hacerlo en secret. For 2 full days, all they talked about in meals era lo que ellos should do now. Ellos also talked about the same thing between meals, because había always at least 2 family members in home. No one wanted to estar home alone, y era no possible to leave la house con no one en ella. En la Thursday, la woman que helped clean la house got on her knees y asked the Gregor mother again and again to let her leave right away. It was not clear how much ella knew about lo que had happened, but ella se fue in 15 minutes. Con tears en sus eyes, ella thanked the Gregor mother por letting her go, como si ello fuera una very great y good thing. Ella even promised very strongly que ella would not tell anyone anything about what happened, even though no one had asked her to. Now, the Gregor sister also tenía que help su mother con la cooking, but it was not a lot of work because no one ate very much. Gregor often heard a uno de ellos try to get another to eat, but it did not work. The other person would only say, "No thanks, yo have had enough," or something like that. No one drank very much either. Sometimes su sister would ask su father si él wanted una beer, because ella wanted said like a ir y get it. When su father said nothing, ella would say que la woman que helped en la house could getlo para él, para que él would not feel bad. But then su father would end la talk con un big loud no, y no one would say anything más. Before el first day was over, su father told the Gregor mother and sister how much money ellos tenían y cómo su future sería. Sometimes él would get up de la table y take una paper de una small money box. Él had kept esta box de su business after este failed 5 years before. Gregor hardly opened la lock que was hard to open and then closed la again after él took la thing él wanted. Lo que su father said fue some de las first good news Gregor had heard since él had been locked in su room.
Él had thought there was nothing left de su father's business, so father had never said there was anything left, y Gregor had never asked about it. La bad que ese happened to su business had made the family feel como si hubiera no hope. En ese time, lo only que Gregor cared about era hacer things para hacerlos a todos forget eso as fast as possible. So él started to work very hard y con a lot of energy. Esto helped him get a much better job very quickly, como un salesman que travels. El new job gave him a chance to make money the new ways. Gregor quickly turned to good work and money Gail could put on la table at home, but as a surprised y very happy family. Esos fueron good times, y ellos never happened again, at least not the same wonderful way. Esto fue true, even though Gregor later made enough money to pay for todo the family needed, and he did pay for it. Both Gregor and the family had gotten used to it. Ellos took el money con thanks, y él estaba happy to give it, although ellos no longer showed Lee much warm feeling in return. Now, Gregor estaba only close to su sister. Ella no era como él. Ella loved music very much and played el violin very well y con mucho feeling. Él tenía una secret plan to send la a una special school de music next year, even though eso would cost a lot of money que él would have to get the some other way. When Gregor estaba in town for a short time, él y su sister would often talk about la music school, but ellos only talked de ello como si fuera un beautiful dream que could never come true. Sus parents did not like to hear esta simple talk, but Gregor thought en ello a lot and decided él would tell him su plan in a big way el día de Navidad. Esa era la kind of useless thing él thought en ello in su new life, while él stood straight against la door and listened. Sometimes él became too tired to keep listening, and su head would fall against la door. Él would quickly pull it up again because even the smallest sound que él hacía could be heard in the next room, haciendo que ellos todos go quiet. After a while, su father, who había clearly ido al door, would say, ¿Qué está él haciendo now? Only then would ellos slowly start the conversation again. Su father said things many times when él explained them, because él had not thought in ellas for a long time, and because Gregor's mother did not understand them at first. By hearing estas things many times, Gregor was happy to learn que even con todas las bad things que had happened, ellos still tenían some money de a long time ago. No era much money, but no one had used y este had made a little más money over time. Also, ellos had not spent todo el money Gregor brought home each month, since él only kept a little para himself, and so ese money had also grown. From behind the door, Gregor moved su head up and down happily, because él was pleased de que ellos habían sido so careful con money without él knowing.
Él thought que él could have used este extra money to pay back some de lo que su father owed su boss, and then él could have left su job much sooner. But now, él thought era much better que su father had saved el money instead. But este money no era enough por el family to live on only el new money que hacía. Era only enough para ellos to live for maybe 1 or 2 years, and not for any longer. Esto means que should not use este money, but keep it para un time de great need. El money que necesitaban to live every day era money que tenían to get de working. Su father era un healthy man, but él era old and did not believe él podía hacer things well. En los 5 years when él no tuvo una job, él had become much fatter and moved very slowly and not well. Esta era the first time él podía rest en una life que había sido very hard and had not gone well. Would the Gregor old mother now tendría que work to get money? Ella tenía asthma, so era very hard para ella to walk por the house. And many days ella tenía que sit in the sofa by the open window and fight para breathe. Would su sister tendría que work to get money? Ella era still young, only 17 years old, and before esto su life había sido very good. Ella wore nice clothes, slept late, helped con el family's work, hacía some simple things for fun, and most of all, ella played el violin. Every time ellos started to talk about meeting to get money, Gregor would first let go of el door and then throw himself onto the cool leather sofa next to él, because él felt hot con shame and sadness. Él would often stay there all night, not sleeping at all, and scratching the leather for many hours. Or sometimes él hacía something very hard. Él would push una chair at a window, climb onto the window ledge, and use the chair to help him stand there and look outside. Él used to feel very free when él hacía esto, but now era only una memory that kept feeling. Las things él saw outside were becoming less clear every day, even things que estaban close. Él used to hate always seeing the hospital across the street, but now él could not see lao at all. Si él did not know él lived in Charlottenstrasse, una quiet street in the middle of the city, él could have thought it was looking at an empty place where the gray sky and the gray earth mixed together. Su sister paid attention to things. So after ella saw the chair moved twice, él started to always put it back in the same place by the window after ella cleaned the room. And from then on, ella even left the inside part of the window open. Si Gregor had been able to speak con su sister para thank her todo lo que tenía que hacer por él, it would have been easier para él to accept su life. But como no podía, eso pained him. Su sister tried hard to act como si taking care of him no fuera una difficult thing, and ella became better in esto as time went on. But as más time passed, Gregor also understood much better lo que ella was really feeling. Now, él felt very bad every time ella came in the room.
As soon as ella came in, ella would quickly close la door to make sure no one tuviera que see inside su room. Then, ella would iba right a la window y openla very fast, como si ella no pudiera get enough air. Even when hacía cold, ella would stand by la window for a short time and take big breaths de air. Twice a day, sus fast movements y las noise ella hacía would scare Gregor, and he would shake under la couch the whole time. He knew very well que ella did not want to make him feel this way, but ella no podía estar en las room con él si las windows no estaban open. One day, about 1 month after the Gregor change, su sister estaba now used to a way él looked. Ella came into a room a little earlier than lo que ella usually did and found him looking out a window, not moving, in a place where it looked más terrible. Gregor would not have been surprised si su sister did not come a la room, because era hard para ella to open la window when él estaba there. But ella did not just stay out. Ella went back right away and closed la door. Someone que did not know Los would have thought él had tried to hurt her or bite her. Of course, Gregor fue right away to hide under el couch. Él had to wait until el middle del day a que su sister to come back, and when ella lo hizo, ella seemed much más worried que ella usually estaba. Esto made him understand que ella still could not stand to look at him, and que ella would always feel this way. Ella probably had to fight el feeling de wanting to run away, even when ella saw el small part de él que stuck out from under la couch. One day, so ella no tuviera que decirlo at all, él spent 4 hours carrying la bedsheet al couch on su back. Él put la sheet in a way que esta covered lo completely, so su sister no pudiera decirlo even if ella bent down to look. Si ella did not think la sheet was needed, ella podía just take it away, because era clear que Gregor did not like being separated de todo so much. Ella left la sheet where estaba. Gregor even thought él saw a thankful look in su face one time when él cheerfully looked out from under la sheet to see que ella thought of the new way things estaban. For the first 2 weeks, the Gregor parents no podían make themselves come into la room to see-lo. Él often heard les say ellos estaban happy por todo el new work su sister estaba haciendo, even though before ellos thought ella era not very useful y estaban often unhappy con ella. But now, su father and mother would often wait together outside the Gregor's door while su sister cleaned inside. When ella came out, ella had to tell them todo, que la room looked like, que Gregor had eaten, que él hizo this time, y si él seemed to be getting a little better. Su mother also wanted to go in and see Gregor soon, but at first, su father and sister told her no era una good idea. Gregor heard todo of this very well, y él agreed con ellos completely.
Later, though, ellos had to use sus bodies to stopla, y ella shouted, "Let me go y see Gregor. Él is my poor son. ¿No puedes you understand yo tengo que decirlo?" And Gregor would think que maybe sería una good thing si su mother came in. Not every day, but maybe un day a week. Él felt ella could understand todo much better que su sister. Even though su sister era brave, ella era still just una child y no really know como una grown person how hard su work era. Gregor wanted to see su mother, and soon lo hizo. Because él was thinking of su parents, Gregor did not want que ellos to síle en la window in the day. The small floor did not give-le much space to move. Era hard to be quiet at night, and soon él did not like su food. So para tener something que hacer, él started to move up and down the walls and the ceiling. Él liked hanging del ceiling very much. Era very different de estar en el floor. Él could breathe más easily y su body felt light. Up there, él felt good and almost happy. And sometimes él would surprise himself by letting go y falling al floor con un loud sound. But now, él podía control su body much better que before, and even when él fell from esa high, él did not hurt himself. Soon, su sister saw that Gregor knew way de tener something que hacer, because él left sticky marks de sus feet when él moved around. Ella decided to make it easier para él by taking out el furniture que was in his way, como the chest of drawers and the desk. Pero esto no era something ella podía hacer alone. Ella was afraid to ask her father for help. The young woman que helped in the house había sido brave since la cook se fue, pero ella would not help con esto. Ella had even asked to keep the kitchen door locked all the time and only open it as something very important. So su sister had to wait a un time en que su father no estuviera and get their mother to help her. As su mother and sister came near la room, Gregor could hear su mother say ella estaba happy, pero ella became quiet when ella estaba en la door. First, su sister came in and looked around to check que todo en la room was okay. Only after that did ella let su mother come in. Gregor había quickly pulled el cloth down más over el couch y made más folds in it so that it looked like it was put there without any thought. This time, Gregor did not look out from under the cloth.
él decided él would see su mother later and él estuviera just happy de que ella estuviera there. Tú puedes come in. Tú no puedes silo, su sister said as ella took la mother's hand and brought-la a la room. The old chest of drawers era too heavy para two women que no eran strong to move, but Gregor listened as ellas pushed it. Su sister always hacía the hardest part the work herself and did not listen when su mother told her ella would hurt herself. Esto lasted un very long time. After ellos worked hard to move-lo for 15 minutes or más, su mother said ellos should leave los chests where era.
First, era too heavy y ellos no podían finish before su father came home, y leavinglo in the middle of los room estaría in his way. Second, ella was not sure de que moving los furniture would even help Gregor. Ella thought the opposite era true. Seeing los empty walls made her feel very sad deep inside. Ella thought Gregor would feel the same way because él had lived con los furniture for a long time, y una empty room would make him feel como si ellos had left him all alone. Then ella spoke again in un very quiet voice, almost un whisper. Ella did not know where Gregor estaba, y ella was sure él could not understand su words, but ella still did not want-lo to hear los feeling en su voice. Ella added, ¿Y si nosotros take los furniture away, won't it look like nosotros have lost all hope de que él will get better y estamos leaving-lo all alone? I think the best is to not change la room at all. This way, when Gregor está con nosotros again, él will see que todo está the same y será easier para él to forget esta time. When Gregor heard su mother say esto, él understood que because no one had spoken to him como una person y because la family's life había sido the same every day para 2 months, su thinking must have become unclear. Era the only reason él could think of para por qué él had truly wanted su room estuviera empty. Did él really want to change su warm room con sus nice furniture de su family en una cave? An empty room would let him crawl anywhere without things in his way, but eso would also make him quickly forget su past life como una person. Él almost forgot, but then él heard his mother's voice for the first time in a long time, y eso made him stop. Nothing should be taken out. Todo had to stay. Él needed la good feeling la things in la room gavele, y si ellas made it hard para él to move around without thinking, eso era una very good thing, not a bad one. Sadly, su sister thought something different. For a good reason, ella was now used to ser la que spoke to sus parents about Gregor, about las things él necesitaba. Por esto, lo que su mother said era now una good enough reason para ella to say strongly que ellos must take things out. At first, ella only wanted to take out el chest y el desk, but now ella wanted to take out todas las things in the room, except for a very important couch. Ella was not saying esto just because ella era como un child que wants hacer the wrong thing, or because of un new strong feeling ella tenía about herself. The true reason era que ella had seen que Gregor needed a lot of space to move around, but las things in the room, por lo que anyone could see, did not helple at all. But girls, que son that old, get very excited con things, y ellas feel ellas must have lo que ellas want when it is possible. Maybe este feeling hizo a Grete want hacer lo que was happening a Gregor seem even more surprising and bad de lo que it era para que ella pudiera hacer even more things to helplo.
Grete era maybe las only person brave enough to go into las room where Gregor was moving all around on las empty walls by himself. So ella would not let su mother hacerla change her mind. The Gregor mother already seemed worried in su room. Soon, ella stopped talking and used todo el power que tenía to help his sister move el chest out. Gregor podría live without a chest of drawers si él needed to, but a writing desk must stay. As soon as el two women pushed the chest of drawers out of a room, haciendo sounds because era very heavy, Gregor put his head out from under el couch to see qué él podía hacer. Él wanted ser very careful, but sadly, su mother came back al room first. Grete estaba en el other room, trying to move el chest by herself by pushing and pulling it, but it did not move at all. Su mother was not used to seeing él, and the sight de él podía make her sick, so Gregor moved back quickly al other end del couch. But because él was surprised and moved fast, él could not stop la sheet en la front del couch from moving a little. Esto fue enough para hacer que su mother notice. Ella stood very still for a short time, and then ella went back out a Grete. Gregor tried to tell himself que todo estaba normal and ellas were only moving some things. But él soon had to know que el women moving back and forth, el quiet words they say to each other, and el sound de las things en el floor made him feel como si he was being attacked from all sides. Él pulled su head and legs in close and pressed su body to a floor. And él tenía que tell himself que él no podía take todo de esto por much longer. Ellos were taking todo de su room, todas las things que eran important para él. Ellos had already taken el box, ese tenía su saw and other tools. Now, it looked like ellos would take a writing desk, el que ese había hecho marks en el floor where él always estaba. Él had used ese desk para su work when él was learning business, in high school, and even when él era un very small boy. Él could not wait more to see si lo que ellos wanted to hacer era good. Él había almost forgotten ellos estaban there because ellos estaban now too tired to talk. While ellos worked, and él could only hear el heavy sound of sus feet on el floor. So while the women estaban del other room resting against el desk, to get their breath back, él came out quickly. Él moved in 4 different ways, not knowing qué él should say first. Then, él suddenly saw la picture in la wall de la woman wearing a lot of fur. Era the only thing left in la wall. Él moved quickly up to el picture and pushed su body against el glass. El glass held him strongly, and it felt good in his hot belly. Now that él was covering todo el picture, él was sure que no one podía take it away. Él turned his head to look a las door de la rooming room. Él wanted to see a las women when ellas came back. Ellos did not rest for a long time and came back very soon. Grete tenía la arm around la mother, and él was almost carrying la.
So, ¿qué should we take now? Said Grete. Y ella looked around. Then, ella saw Gregor en la wall. Ella stayed calm, maybe only because su madre estaba there. Ella moved su face close de su madre para que su madre would not look around and said quickly, con una shaking voice, Vamos, let's go back to la living room for a little while. Gregor understood lo que Grete was planning to do. Ella wanted to move su madre a un safe place and then make him get down de la wall. Well, ella podría try hacerlo. Él sat on su picture and would not move. Él wanted to jump at de Grete's face instead. Pero de Grete's words had made su madre very worried. Ella moved to one side and saw la very big brown spot en la flower paper en la wall. Before ella even knew que era Gregor ella was looking at, ella screamed, Oh God! Oh God! Con sus arms out, ella fell on the couch como si ella had given up on todo, and ella stayed there without moving. Gregor! Su sister shouted, looking at him con una very angry face and shaking su closed hand at him. Esa fue la first word ella had said right a él since él had changed. Ella ran into la other room to get something con una strong smell to wake her mother up. Gregor wanted to help too. Él thought él could save su picture later, but él was stuck hard al glass and had to use toda su power to pull himself off. Then, él also ran into the next room, thinking él could give his sister good ideas, como hacía en los old days. Pero él tuvo que just stand behind her and do nothing. Ella was looking at many different bottles, and when ella turned around and saw lo, ella estaba very surprised. Un bottle fell to the ground and broke. A small sharp piece of the bottle caught the Gregor face, and some strong medicine that could burn went all over him. Without waiting more, Greta took todas las bottles she could hold and ran con ellas to su madre. Ella closed la door hard con su foot. So now, Gregor was kept away de su madre, and he thought ella podría estar near death because of him. Él no podía open el door because él did not want hacer a su sister run away, and ella tenía que stay con su madre. There was nothing él pudiera hacer but wait. Él felt very worried and very bad por lo que had happened, so él began to crawl everywhere. Él crawled over the walls, el things in la room, and the top of la room. At last, él no podía think clearly, and it felt like toda la room was turning around him, and he fell down onto el middle of the big table. Él lay there for una while, not able to feel anything and not moving. Estaba quiet all around him, and he thought maybe eso era una good thing. Then había someone on the door. La woman que worked in la house had of course locked se en la kitchen, so Grete tenía que ser la que ir a la door. Su father had come home. "What's happened?" fueron sus first words. La way Grete looked must have showedle todo lo que had happened. Ella answeredle en un quiet voice and put su face against su chest, saying quietly, "Mother became unwell and fell down, but ella está better now."
Gregor came out de su room. Su father said, "Yo knew esto would happen. Yo always said it would, pero ustedes women did not want to hear me." Gregor knew que Grete had not said todas las important things. Él knew su father thought que something bad had happened, and que Gregor había hecho something to hurt someone. Por esto, Gregor knew él tenía que try hacer su father calm. Él no tenía time to tellle lo que really happened, and era not possible hacerlo anyway. So él fue quickly a la door de su room and put su body against ella. Él wanted su father to see him as soon as él came in de la other room, to show que él did not want to cause trouble and would go back a su room right away. Esto would show que no one needed to force him to go back. Ellos only needed to open la door and él would go inside. Pero su father no estaba in a state of mind to see small things como eso. "Ah!" él shouted when él came in, and su voice sounded like él estuviera both angry and happy at the same time. Gregor pulled su head back de la door and looked up at su father. Él had not thought su father would look the way él did now. Recently, because of su new way de crawling, él had not been thinking en lo que was happening in las other rooms como él used to. Él should have known eso things serían different, but still, ¿era eso really su father? Era este el same tired man que used to lie con su bed como si él could not move when Gregor came home de su work trips. El same man que would sit con su chair con su night clothes to say hello at him in the evenings. Él había estado so weak, él could not stand up well, and to show he was happy, él would only lift su arms. A few times a year, when ellos todos went for a walk, Ed would wear in big coats and move very slowly between Gregor and su mother, even though ellos were already walking slowly por él. Él would put su walking stick down con care, and si él wanted to say something, él would always stop and make them come close a él. But now él was standing very straight. Él was wearing a nice blue uniform con gold buttons, el kind que men que work at a bank wear. You could see su big chin over el high, hard collar of su coat. Under su thick eyebrows, su white hair, que estaba usually not neat, was now combed down very flat against su head. Él took su hat que tenía gold letters in it de una bank, and he threw it across la room onto the sofa. Él put su hands in su pants pockets, pushing back the bottom of su long coat. Then, con una strong look on his face, he walked toward Gregor. Él probably did not know qué él iba a hacer, pero él still lifted su feet very high as he walked. Gregor was surprised de lo big el bottoms of su father's shoes were, pero él did not think en ello for long. Él knew very well, from el first date él had changed, que su father believed era important ser very hard con él. So él ran toward su father. Él stopped when su father stopped. He moved forward fast again when su father moved, even a little bit.
Ellos went around la room many times this way, but nothing important happened, y eso did not even look like una chase, because ellos moved so slowly. Gregor stayed in la floor todo this time, mostly because él was afraid su father would get very angry si él tried to run away until a wall or ceiling. No matter what él hacía, Gregor knew él no podía keep running around for a long time, because por every one step su father took, él tenía que hacer very many movements. Era easy to see que él was having a hard time breathing.
Even in sus old life, sus lungs no habían sido very strong. As él moved de una sudden, bad way to use toda sus power para running, él could hardly keep sus eyes open. Su thinking became so slow que él no podía think of any way to save himself que no fuera to keep running. Él almost forgot que the walls estaban there para él to use, but ellas were hidden behind furniture con many shapes cut in the wood. Then something was thrown lightly y este flew down right next to him and rolled in front of him. Era una apple. Then another one flew right away. Gregor estaba so surprised que stopped moving. No había no reason to run anymore because su father had decided to throw many things le. Él had filled sus pockets con fruit del bowl on the table, and now él threw one apple after another without taking time to aim carefully. These small red apples rolled around on la floor, hitting each other como si ellas tuvieran electric motors inside ellas. Una apple que fue not thrown very hard hit su back lightly and then fell off without hurting him. But another apple right after it hit Sue back hard and got stuck there. Gregor wanted to pull himself away, como si moving to a new place could stop el surprising and unbelievable pain. But él felt like it was fixed to the spot. Él lay flat, y él no podía think, ni ver, or feel anything clearly. The last thing él saw fue las doors to su room opening. Su sister was screaming. Su mother ran out in front of his, wearing only sus blouse because su sister had taken off sus other clothes to help her breathe after ella had fallen down. The mother ran on father, but sus skirts were not tied and ellas fell al ground. Ella fell over las skirts as ella moved to él and put his arms around him, holding him very close. Then Gregor could not see más, but él knew su mother tenía sus hands behind his father's head, asking him que dejara vivir a Gregor. Chapter 3. No one fue brave enough to take out la apple que was stuck deep in Gregor's body, so it stayed there where todos could see él was hurt. Él was hurt por ella for más de un month, and él seemed so sick que hizo que even su father remember que Gregor fuera part of the family, even though él now looked sad and very bad, y que ellos should not act como si él fuera un enemy. Instead, como una family, ellos tenían que hide los bad feelings que tenían about él, y ellos tenían que estar calm and wait. Just estar calm and wait.
Because él was hurt, Gregor cannot move well anymore, y esto would probably be true forever. Él era now como un very old, sick person, and it took him un very long time to move across su room. Él could not move en la ceiling at all más. But él thought que una thing hacía este bad change better. Every evening, la door de la living room was left open. Él started to watch la door for 1 or 2 hours before she opened. Then, él would lie in su dark room where la family cannot see-lo. From there, él could see la family in the light of la dinner table and hear lo que ellos said. Era como si ellos had all said it was okay, so it was very different than before. Of course, ellos did not talk con much life como ellos lo hacían en el past. Gregor always remembered those old talks and wanted to hearlas again when he used to be tired and in a bad bed in a small hotel room. Now, most del time, todos en la family estaba very quiet. Soon after ellos ate, su father would go to sleep in su chair. Su mother and sister would tell each other to be quiet. Su mother would sit low under the light and hacía nice underwear para un clothes shop. Su sister, who had a job selling things, learned un fast way the writing in French in the evenings para ella could get un better job in the future. Sometimes, su father would wake up and say at the Gregor mother, "You are sewing so much again today." Él said esto como si él did not know. Él had been sleeping a little. Then, él would go back to sleep, and la mother and sister would look at each other and give una tired smile. The Gregor father estaba very strong en su thinking and would not take off su work clothes even when él estaba at home. Él would sleep where él estaba with all his clothes on, como si él estuviera always ready to work and waiting to hear la voz de su boss, even en su own house. La work clothes no eran new when él first got las, and because él wore las all the time, estas slowly became más old and worn, even though the Gregor mother and sister tried hard to keep las looking good. Gregor would often spend él toda evening looking at toda el dirty marks en este coat. Sus gold buttons were always kept clean and bright, while the old man inside the él slept looking very uncomfortable but calm. When eran 10 o'clock, the Gregor mother would speak con una soft voice a su father to wake him up. Ella would try a hacer que él want to go to bed because él no podía tener good sleep where él estaba, and he needed to sleep well to be ready for work a las 6 in the morning. But since él started este work, él had become un man que would not change his mind. Él would always say que él must stay en la table longer, even though él often fell asleep there. After él fell asleep, era very hard to make him want to move de la chair a su bed. Then, even when sus mother and sister kept asking him and telling him él estaba haciendo something wrong, él would just slowly shake his head for 15 minutes, con sus eyes closed, and would not get up.
The Gregor mother would pull the el arm de su coat y say soft, kind words in su ear. The Gregor sister would stop a su work to help a su mother, but none de estas things le hacía hacer anything. Él would just let su body go down deeper en su chair. When las two women heldlo por sus arms, él would suddenly open sus eyes, look at each de ellas y say, "What a life! Esta es la kind de peace you get now that yo soy old." Las two women would help him stand up slowly, como si él was carrying something very heavy. Él would let them help him to the door, then tell them que se fueran y él would walk by himself. At the same time, the Gregor mother would put down su sewing and su sister would put down su pen para que ellas could run after su father to keep helping him. En esta family, todos was tired and worked too much, so no one tenía time to think en Gregor más de lo que ellos had to. The family tenía even less money, so ellos told the maid ella no podía work para ellos más. One very big, strong cleaning woman con white hair came every morning and evening para hacer el hardest work. The Gregor mother hacía todo el other work, and ella also hacía a lot of sewing. By listening les talk por la evening, Gregor learned que ellos had sold some of the family's jewelry, even though su mother and sister had loved to wear it in special times. But la thing ellos complained about más era que ellos no podían move. El place where ellos lived era now too big para ellos. But ellos no podían irse porque ellos no podían think of un way to move a Gregor a un new home. But él knew que había other reasons por las que era hard para ellos to move, not just por él. Habría sido easy to move him en una good box con some holes para air. The real reason ellos did not move era porque ellos felt no hope, and ellos thought una bad thing had happened to them que era worse que anything que had happened to su family or friends. Ellos hicieron todo la hard work que poor people tienen que hacer. The Gregor father took food at people en el bank. Su mother worked very hard washing clothes para other people, and su sister ran around to help customers where ella worked. But ellos no tenían the power en sus bodies para hacer anything más. Y la injury in the Gregor back began to hurt again as much as lo hacía al beginning. After taking a su father to bed, the Gregor mother and sister would stop su work and sit very close together. Su mother would point to the Gregor's room y say, "Close esa door, Grete." Then, When él estaba in la dark, ellas would sit in la next room and either cry together or just look at la table with no tears. Gregor almost never slept day or night. Sometimes, él would think in taking care of su family's business again, como él hacía before. Then, people de a su past would appear in a su thoughts, a su boss, other workers, friends, and even women él remembers softly. Toda esta people, mixed con strangers and others él had forgotten, came into a su mind.
But ellos could not help Lo or a su family, so él estaba happy when los thoughts of them went away. At other times, él did not want to take care of su family at all. Él was filled with simple anger because no one paid attention to him, and él made plans to go into la food room to take things él felt él should have, even if él no estaba hungry and did not know que él wanted. The Gregor's sister no longer tried hacerlo happy. Before ella went to work in the morning y at midday, ella would quickly put some food in su room con su foot. In the evening, ella would sweep la away con la broom, not caring si él had eaten la, lo que él usually no había hecho. Ella still cleaned la room por la evening, but now ella lo hacía como fast como ella podía. Había dirty marks en las walls, and in some places it había small balls de dust and dirt. At first, when su sister arrived, the Gregor iba a un very dirty place to show her ella was not cleaning well, but él could have stayed there for weeks, and ella no habría hecho anything. Ella saw the dirt as well as él did, but had decided to leave it. At the same time, ella started to get angry very easily, lo que era new para su. Todos en la family understood por qué. Ella felt que cleaning the Gregor room era su job, and only su job. The Gregor mother cleans her room very well one time, using many buckets de water. However, toda el wetness made the Gregor sick, so él lay in el couch feeling angry and unhappy and did not move. But más bad things happened to su mother because of lo que ella hizo. As soon as su sister came home, ella saw que the Gregor room estaba different and became very upset. Ella ran back at a living room and, even though su mother put her hands up to ask her to stop, ella began to cry very hard and could not stop. Su father estaba so surprised, él jumped up de su chair and the two parents watched, not knowing qué hacer. Then, ellos also became upset. The Gregor father, on his mother's right side, said que era su's fault for not letting the sister clean la room. From her left side, the sister screamed que la mother must never clean the Gregor room again. At the same time, la mother tried to pull the father, who estaba very angry, into la bedroom. La sister, shaking from crying, hit la table con sus small hands. And Gregor hizo a quiet, angry sound because no one had thought to close la door, so él tuvo que to see and hear todo este noise. The Gregor sister era very tired for ella job, and taking care of Gregor como ella hacía before era even más work que ella. But even so, it was wrong que su mother hiciera el sister's work. But someone still tenía que take care of Gregor. But now, la cleaning woman estaba there. Esta era una old woman whose husband had died. Ella tenía un strong body que had helped her get through many hard things in her long life, so she was not made to feel bad for Gregor. Un day, ella opened la door at the Gregor room, not because ella wanted to see lo que había inside, but just by chance. Ella saw Lo right there in front of ella.
Él estaba very surprised. No one was running after él, pero él started to run around quickly in different directions while ella just stood there, very surprised, con ella arms folded in front of ella. After ese day, ella always opened la door a little bit every morning y evening to look at him for a short time. In the beginning, cuando ella hacía esto, ella would say things like, "Come on then, you old dung beetle," or "Look at old dung beetle there." Gregor never answered when someone spoke like that, y él stayed in the same place without moving, como si la door had not been opened. Él wished ellos had told a la cleaning woman to make su room clean every day instead of letting her come in y trouble him for no reason, just when ella wanted to. One day, early in the morning, una hard rain was hitting las windows, lo que era maybe una sign eso spring was coming. Then, ella started to speakle de esa bad way again.
Gregor felt so bad and angry que él started to move toward ella, y even though él era slow and weak, it looked like él wanted to hurt her. Instead of estar afraid, la cleaning woman just picked up una chair de near la door y stood there con su mouth open. It was clear she wanted to hit the Gregor back very hard con la chair y would not close su mouth until she lo hiciera. So, you are not coming, Mas? Ella asked when Gregor turned around again, and she calmly put la chair back in the corner. Gregor was eating almost nothing now. Only when él estaba by chance near la food que was made for él, would él sometimes take some in su mouth to play con la, keep la there for some hours, y then usually spit la out again. At first, él thought él did not eat because él felt bad por como su room estaba, pero él soon became used to los changes there. Ellos started to put things in su room que did not fit anywhere else, y now había many such things because una room was given a 3 men por money. Estos serious men, y Gregor knew ellos todos tenían long beards porque él las vio one day through una small opening in la door, wanted very much que todo estuviera clean y en order. Esto meant ellos wanted things to be clean not only in su own room, but because ellos now lived in la house, ellos wanted la toda house y most of all la kitchen to be clean too. Ellos could not stand tener things around que were not needed, most of all si esas things estaban dirty. Also, ellos had brought most of their own furniture and other things with them. Because of esto, many things were not needed anymore, y while la family no podía hacerlas, ellos did not want to throw them away. All these things ended up in the room de Gregor. Las trash cans de the kitchen also ended up in there. La cleaning woman was always moving fast, so ella would just throw anything in there, eso ella did not need in ese moment. Era una good thing para él que él usually only saw la thing being thrown y la hand que held la.
La woman probablemente wanted to take the things out again cuando ella tuviera time or to throw everything away all at once, pero las things fueron really just left where they fell unless Gregor moved through todo the mess and put las somewhere else. At first, él tenía que moverle because había no other room where él podía move around. Later, él started to likely, pero moving in that way made lo sad and very, very tired, and él would stay without moving for many hours after. Los men que paid to live por la room sometimes ate su evening food por la main room que todos used. Por este reason, la door de esta room estaba often closed por la evening, pero estaba easy para Gregor no tener la door open. After all, cuando estaba open, él often did not use la, and él would stay in the darkest part of su room where la family did not see lo. Una time, however, la woman que cleaned the house left la door de la main room open a little. It stayed open cuando las men que paid to live there came in for the evening and turned on la light. Ellos sat in la table where Gregor used to eat con su father and mother in the past. Ellos opened sus napkins and picked up sus knives and forks. The Gregor mother came a la door right away con un plate de meat, and su sister came soon after que ella con un plate que tenía many potatoes on it. The food estaba very hot, and la smell de ella filled the room. El men put their heads down close to los plates in front of them, como si ellos wanted to check los food before eating la. El man in the middle, who los other two seemed to see como su líder, cut una small part of the meat de la serving plate. Él clearly wanted to know si it was cooked enough or si it needed to be sent back a la kitchen. Él estaba happy con ello, so the Gregor mother and sister, who had been watching con worry, pudieron stop worrying, and ella smiled. La family ate su own food in la kitchen. Even so, the Gregor father came in at a living room before él fuera a la kitchen. Él held su cap in su hand and bowed una time, then walked around la table. Los men todos stood up at the same time and said something quietly in sus beards. Then, when ellos estaban alone, ellos ate e hicieron almost no sound. Gregor thought it was strange que over todos los other sounds of eating, él podía still hear sus teeth chewing. Era como si ellos wanted to show him que una person needs teeth to eat and que uno se puede hacer anything con jaws que no tienen teeth, no matter how nice que sean. I want to eat something, Gregor said, feeling worried, but no the same things ellos are eating. Ellos pueden eat por themselves, and yo estoy here dying. For todo esta time, Gregor did not remember hearing la violin, pero esta evening, él started to hear lo coming de la kitchen. Los three men habían already finished sus food. The one in the middle took out una newspaper, gave una page to each of the others, and now ellos leaned back in sus chairs, reading and smoking. Cuando la violin started to play, ellos paid attention.
Ellos stood up y walked quietly a la door del hall, where ellos stood very close together. Someone in the kitchen must have heard los, because the Gregor father called out, "Do la men no like la music? Nosotros podemos stoplo right now." "No, not at all," said la man in the middle. "Nosotros would like la young woman to come in y play para nosotros here in la room, where is much más comfortable." "Oh, sí, with pleasure," replied out loud el father de Gregor, como si él fuera el que was playing el violin. Los men went back a la room y waited. Soon the Gregor father came con el music stand, su mother came con el music y su sister came con el violin. Ella quietly got everything ready to start playing. Su parents had never had people paying to live in un room before, so ellos eran much too polite con el three men y were afraid to even sit in sus own chairs. Su father stood against el door con su right hand and su right hand between two buttons en su coat. Uno de los men, however, offered a su mother un chair, y ella sat down in un corner, leaving el chair where el man had put la silla. Su sister started to play. Su father and mother stood a each side of ella y watched sus hands very carefully. La music made him want to come closer, so él was brave enough to move forward a little until su head estuvo en la living room. Before, él felt good about himself because él always thought in other people, but now él did not even notice él had stopped thinking en ellas. Also, que él now tenía una very good reason to stay where no one could see-lo. Él was covered in la dust que estaba everywhere in su room, y la dust iba a leer si él moved even a little. Él tenía small pieces of string, hair, and old food in su back and sides. Él did not care about anything now, so que él did not lie in su back to clean himself in la carpet, something que él used to do many times each day. And even though él estaba so dirty, él was not afraid to move forward a little onto a very clean floor the living room. No one noticed him though. La family was thinking only en la violin music. At first, la three men had put sus hands in sus pockets y estaban too close behind la music stand to look at la music. Esto must have made it hard para the Gregor sister to play. But soon, ellos moved away from ella and back to la window. Ellos estaban there con sus heads down, talking quietly, while the Gregor father watched them and felt worried. Era now very clear que ellos had thought ellos would hear beautiful or interesting music, but ellos no estaban happy con ella. Ellos did not want to hear más de la music y estaban only letting it continue because ellos wanted ser polite. La way ellos all blew smoke de sus cigarettes up out of sus mouths and noses era very strange y hacía a uno feel worried. Yet the Gregor sister was playing so beautifully. Su face was turned to un side y ella tenía una careful y sad look as ella followed la music.
Gregor moved forward un little más, keeping his head close del ground para que él pudiera look a sus eyes si él tuviera la chance. ¿Podría él ser un animal si music made him feel de esta way? Él felt la music was showing él a way a the unknown thing él needed, la thing él had wanted for so long. Él decided que él must go a su sister and pull on su skirt to show her que ella could bring su violin a su room, because no one here liked su playing as much as a él did. As long as él estuvo alive, él never wanted la to leave su room. For the first time, the bad way él tenía podía ser useful para él. Él wanted estar en todas las doors at once to hiss y spit, and anyone could try to attack it. Pero su sister no tendría que stay. Ella would stay because ella wanted to. Ella would sit next to him and listen closely when he told her su plan. Él had always wanted to sendla a la special school de music, and he would have told todos en Navidad, ¿había Navidad really passed already? Si esta bad thing had not happened to him. And he would not let anyone stop him hacerlo. When ella heard todo esto, su sister would start to cry con strong feelings. Grigor would then climb up to su shoulder and kiss su neck, que ella did not cover with anything now that ella went out to work. Mr. Samsa, el man in the middle shouted at the Grigor father. He said nothing más, but pointed his finger at Grigor as Grigor moved slowly forward. Le violin stopped playing. El man in the middle first smiled at sus two friends and shook his head, and then looked back at Grigor. Su father thought que era más important to make la three men calm before él hiciera que Grigor se fuera. Pero le men no estaban worried at all. Ellos seemed to think que Grigor era más interesting to watch que la violin music había sido. Él ran quickly a los men con su arms open wide. Él tried to push les back at su room and at the same time use su body to stop les from seeing Grigor. Then le men started to feel un little angry. Era hard to know por qué. Era because of the way la father estaba acting, o era because ellos estaban slowly understanding que ellos tenían un neighbor como Grigor in the next room, and ellos never knew. Ellos asked the Grigor father to explain, put su arms up como él hizo, pull on su beers with excitement, and walk back a su room very slowly. At the same time, the Grigor sister was no longer feeling the deep sadness ella felt when ella tuvo que suddenly stop playing. For a moment, su hands fell down and los violin and bow hung de ellas without strength. Ella kept looking at los music, como ella was still playing. Pero then ella suddenly got control of herself. Ella put los violin in her mother's lap, who was still sitting there and finding it very hard to breathe. Then ella ran a los next room, where the three men were now going más quickly because su father was pushing them. Su sister era very good en este work. Ella moved los pillows and covers quickly and hacía los beds neat.
Ella finished y left los room before los three men even got there. The Grigor father was thinking so much en lo que él estaba haciendo que he forgot ser polite con los men que paid to live there. Él kept pushing them a ir faster. When ellos estaban in the door de la room, the man in the middle shouted very loudly and hit su foot hard en el floor. Esto hizo the Grigor father stop. Él raised su hand and looked at the Grigor mother and sister to make them listen too. Él said, Yo am telling les right now que yo me voy my room immediately. Yo me voy porque of el very bad way things están en esta home y con esta family. While él spoke, él looked down at el floor for una moment de una strong, sure way. Of course, yo will not pay you any money por las times yo he estado here. In fact, yo am thinking and making you pay a mí por las trouble. And believe me, sería very easy to give las reasons por las que tú should pay. Él did not say anything más and looked straight ahead como si él was waiting for something to happen. And then, sus two friends also said, Nosotros estamos also leaving right now. After that, él took la door handle and closed la door very hard. The Grigor father walked back a su chair, pero él no estaba steady. Él used sus hands to feel where él iba and then fell into it. It looked like él was lying back para su normal evening sleep, but you could see él was not sleeping at all because su head kept moving up and down and he could not control la. While all this was happening, Grigor had not moved that place where the three men foresaw. Él no podía move because he felt bad de que su plan did not work, and maybe also because he was weak for not eating. He was sure de que todos would start to hurtle very soon, so él waited. Él did not even move the surprise when el violin fell de su mother's shaking hands, hit el floor, e hizo un loud sound. Su sister hit la table con su hand and said, Father, Mother, nosotros no podemos continue to live de esta way. Perhaps ustedes don't understand esto, pero yo sí. Yo do not want to say que esto terrible thing is my brother. Yo puedo only say esto.
Nosotros tenemos que try hacer que se vaya. Nosotros hayamos hecho todo una person puede hacer to take care of it and to wait without estar angry. I do not think anyone can say que nosotros hayamos hecho anything bad. Ella is completely right, the Gregor father said para sí. Su mother was still trying to breathe well and began to cough de una low, quiet way. Ella held su hand out y sus eyes looked wild and strange. The Gregor's sister fue quickly a su mother and put su hand en su forehead. Lo que ella said seemed to give the Gregor father una clear idea de qué hacer. Él sat up straight and moved sus work hat in sus hands, between los plates the three men had left. Sometimes él looked down at Gregor, who was not moving. Nosotros tenemos que try hacer it go away, said the Gregor sister, speaking only as su father because su mother was coughing too much to listen.
Eso will kill us both. You know it will happen. No podemos todos work so hard and then come home a este great pain. No podemos live con esto. No puedo stand it más. And ella began to cry so much que sus tears fell onto su mother's face, and she wiped them away con su hand. My daughter, said su father con una voice kind that showed que he understood. ¿Qué podemos hacer? Su sister just moved sus shoulders up and down to show que felt que no podía hacer nada. Ella started to cry, and la sure feeling que tenía before was now gone. If only él could know lo que nosotros are saying, su father said, and it sounded como una question. Su sister, who was crying, waved su hand to show que esto era not possible at all. If only él could know lo que nosotros are saying, the Gregor father said again, closing sus eyes because he knew su daughter was right de que it was not possible. Then maybe nosotros podríamos hacer un plan con él. But the way things are, nosotros must hacer que se vaya, su sister shouted. Hay no other way, padre. Tú must stop thinking que esta thing is Gregor. Thinking this way for so long has only been bad para nosotros. ¿Cómo puede ser eso, Gregor? Si este thing fuera Gregor, él would have known a long time ago que people no pueden live con un animal como este, and él se habría ido because he wanted to. Then, él no sería our brother here with us más, pero nosotros could continue to live our lives and think in él de una good way. Este animal is causing us great trouble. Él ha hecho que las people que pay to live here leave, and he clearly wants to take our home and make us sleep in the streets. Father, look, just look, ella suddenly screamed. Él is starting to hacerlo again. So sister became very afraid, which Gregor could not understand, and she even left su mother behind. She pushed herself hard out of her chair, como si ella would let something bad happen to su mother just to get away from Gregor. Ella ran quickly behind la father, who became worried just from seeing la fear. He stood up and partly raised sus hands in front of la, como si él wanted to protect la, pero Gregor did not want to make anyone afraid, especially not su sister. The only thing él había hecho era start to turn around para que él could go back a su room. Pero the way he moved era surprising to see. Because his body was in so much pain, turning around era very hard para él, and he had to use his head to help by lifting la and hitting la against the floor many times. He stopped and looked around. Y si ellos understood que él meant no harm, and ellos estuvieron only afraid por un short time. Now ellos all looked at him without saying anything, and they were not happy. Su mother was lying in sus chair with sus legs out straight and pressed together, sus eyes almost closed because ella estaba so very tired. Su sister sat next to su father with sus arms around sus neck. Maybe now ellos will let me turn around, Gregor thought, and he started to try again.
Él was breathing very fast y loud because era hard work, y sometimes él tenía que stop to rest. No one hacía que se hurry anymore, so él podía decide todo for himself. Él was finally turned all the way around. Él started to move forward. Él was surprised to see how far away su room estaba, y él did not understand how él had moved that far a short time ago when él was so weak y no había really noticed lo. Él tried very hard to move as fast as él podía, y él almost did not notice de que su family was not saying o haciendo anything to get su attention. He did not turn su head until él got a la door. Él did not turn su head del todo because su neck felt stiff, but él could still see enough to know que nothing behind él had changed y que only su sister had stood up. The last time él looked, él saw que su mother estaba now sleeping very deeply. Él had just gotten inside su room when la door fue quickly shut, bolted, and locked. El sudden sound behind Gregor surprised lo so much que sus small legs no podían hold him up. Era su sister who was moving very fast. Ella had been standing there waiting, y then ella moved forward quickly y without any sound. Gregor did not hear la coming at all. As ella turned la key en la door, ella said in a loud voice to her parents, "At last!" ¿Qué happens now? Gregor thought to himself as él looked around in the dark. Él soon found out que él no podía move más. Él estaba not surprised por esto. In fact, it seemed strangely que él hubiera podido move on these very thin, small legs until now. Él also felt quite comfortable. It was true que su todo body hurt, pero el pain seemed to be getting weaker and weaker and would soon go away completely. Él podía almost not feel el rotten apple en su back or el red sore place around it que estaba completely covered con white dust. Él remembered a su family con strong feelings and love. Él felt que tenía que irse, y este feeling era stronger para él que para su sister. Él stayed there, calm y con una empty mind, until él heard la big clock sound 3 times de la morning. Él watched as it slowly became light outside la window. Then, without él trying hacerlo, su head fell del todo y el last air came weakly de su nose. The cleaner came early in the morning. Ellos had often told her not to close las doors con un loud sound, pero ella era strong y moved fast, so ella still lo hacía. Esto meant todos en la house knew when ella had come, and no one could sleep well after that. When ella took her usual quick look at Gregor, at first ella saw nothing different. Ella thought él was lying there so still because él wanted to, como si él was trying to make people feel bad por él. Ella thought él understood todo. Ella was holding una long broom, so ella stood en la door y tried to touch him con ella. When eso did not work, ella tried to botherlo y pushlo a little. Ella only started to pay attention when ella podía pushlo across el floor y él did not try to stopla at all.
Ella soon knew lo que había really happened. Sus eyes opened wide y ella whistled. Pero ella did not wait. Ella quickly pulled open las doors de los dark bedrooms and shouted loudly, "Come and look at esto. Está dead. Just lying there, completely dead." Mr. and Mrs. Samsa sat up straight in su bed. Ellos tenían que get over la shock de la cleaner before ellos pudieran understand lo que ella was saying. Then they both quickly got out of sus sides de la bed. Señor Samsa put la blanket over sus shoulders, and Señora Samsa came out wearing su night clothes. Ellos went into the Gregor room like that. On their way, ellos opened los door the living room where Grit had been sleeping since los 3 men moved in. Ella was wearing todas sus clothes, como si ella had not been sleeping, and su very white face seemed to show que esto era true. "Dead?" asked Mrs. Samsa, looking at la cleaning woman for una answer, even though ella could have seen for herself and probably knew it was true without looking. "Eso es lo que yo said," a cleaner answered. And to show que era true, ella pushed the Gregor body again con el broom, making it move sideways por el floor. Mrs. Samsa started to move como si ella wanted to stop el broom, pero ella did not finish the movement. "Well then," said Mr. Samsa, "let us thank Dios por esto." Él hizo la sign de las cruz en su chest, and las 3 women hicieron the same thing. Greed, who did not stop looking at el dead body, said, "Just look, que thin él era. Él did not eat anything for a very long time. La food came out again just the same as when esta went in." The Gregor body estaba truly todo dry and flat, but ellos had not seen lo until ese moment. It was not standing on sus small legs, and he did nothing to make them look away from él. "Great, come con nosotros in here por a short time," said Mrs. Samsa, con una smile que showed ella was feeling bad. And Great followed as his parents al bedroom, but looked back at el body as ella se iba. The cleaner closed la door and opened la window del todo. Even though era still early in the morning, el new air tenía some warmth in él. Era already el ente marzo after all. Los three men came out of su room and looked around for some morning food. Ellos estaban very surprised because someone had forgotten about ellos. Where's our morning food? El man in the middle asked the cleaner, de una angry way. Ella put su finger in su mouth to show Liz to be quiet. Then ella quickly and without una sound hizo una sign para los men to come at the Gregor room. Ellos hicieron lo que ella showed Liz and stood around the Gregor dead body con sus hands in the pockets of sus old coats. Había now a lot of light in la room. Then the bedroom door opened and Mr. Samsa came out wearing a su uniform, holding a su wife con un arm and a su daughter con el other. Todos de ellos had cried a little. Sometimes, Great put su face against su father's arm. "Leave my home. Now," Mr. Samsa said, pointing a las door with a letting go of las women.
What do you mean? El man in the middle asked. Él seemed a little confused y gave una sweet smile. Los other two men held sus hands behind sus backs and kept rubbing ellos together. Ellos estaban happy because ellos thought que habría una big fight, y ellos believed it would end de una good way para ellos. "Yo mean just lo que Joe said," Señor Samsa answered, y él walked straight towards las man con las two women. At first, él stood there without moving y looked at el ground, como si él was trying to put new thoughts together in su head. "All right, iremos then," él said. Él looked up at Mr. Samsa como si él suddenly felt small and needed Mr. Samsa to say que estaba okay que se fueran. Señor Samsa only opened su eyes wide and quickly moved su head up and down a few times. After that, la man right away walked con big steps into the front hall. Sus two friends had stopped rubbing sus hands a little while before and were listening to lo que la people were saying. Then ellos quickly followed su friend como si ellos estuvieran suddenly afraid de que el señor Samsa would go into the hall before ellos and get between ellos y su líder. When ellos estaban en la hall, the three men took sus hats del stand, took sus walking sticks del holder, bent sus bodies forward without una word, and left la house. Señor Samsa y las two women followed los al place en la top de las stairs. Ellos did not think los men wanted hacer anything bad, y when ellos looked down, ellos saw los three men go down los many steps, slowly, pero without stopping. Each time las men went round una corner in sus way down, ellos were gone from sight por una short time. As las men iban más down, la Samsa family cared less de watching ellos. When una boy que sells meat came up las steps near ellos, standing up very straight con una tray in su head, Señor Samsa y las women moved away and went back a sus rooms, and it seemed like ellos felt better. Ellos decided el best way to spend el day era to rest y go for a walk. Ellos felt ellos should have a break from work, y ellos also really needed uno. So ellos sat a la table and wrote 3 letters to say ellos no estarían at work. Señor Samsa wrote a la people él worked para. Señora Samsa wrote a la persona que gave her work, y Grete wrote a su boss. While ellos were writing, la cleaning woman que cleaned the house came in to tell them ella se iba because su work de la morning was done. At first, las 3 de ellos only moved su heads up and down and did not look up de su writing. Pero la cleaning woman still no se iba, so ellos looked up at her and felt unhappy por ello. "Well?" asked Señor Samsa. La cleaning woman stood en la door con una smile en su face, como si ella tuviera una very good news to tell them, pero only would say it si ellos asked her to. The small feather in su hat estaba almost straight up y moved slowly from side to side. Esa feather had always bothered Mr. Samsa para todo el time ella had worked para ellos. "¿Qué do you want then?" asked Mrs. Samsa.
Samsa, que persona que cleaning woman respected más. Sí, ella answered, y ella started to laugh in a friendly way so ella could not speak por un moment. "Well then, do not need to worry about cómo to get rid of esa thing in there.
Ello todo ha sido taken care of. Mrs. Samsa and Grete looked down at Sue's letters, como si ellas wanted to keep writing. Mr. Samsa saw que the cleaning woman wanted to tell them todo about what happened, pero él held out su hand and made it very clear que ella should not, because ellos would not let la speak, que suddenly remembered que tenía que irse quickly. Ella estaba clearly unhappy, said, "Goodbye then, a todos," turned around fast y se fue, haciendo la door close con un very loud sound. "Tonight, ella will lose su job," said Mr. Samsa, pero su wife and daughter did not answer Lee because it seemed like cleaning woman had broken la quiet feeling ellas had only just started to have. Ellos stood up and walked to la window, and ellos stayed there con sus arms around each other. Señor Samsa turned around in su chair to look at them and watched them for some time. Then él said loudly, "Come here. Let's not think in esas old things más. Come and be with me for a little while." Las two women hicieron lo que él said right away. Ellas fueron a él quickly, kissed him, and put sus arms around him, and then ellas quickly finished sus letters. After that, la three of them left su home together and took la streetcar a la open land outside la town. Ellos no habían todos gone out together like that for many months. La streetcar estaba full of warm sun, and ellos were the only people in él. Ellos sat back in sus seats feeling good and talked about cómo sus lives podrían ser in the future. When ellos thought en él más, ellos saw que things no eran bad at all. Ellos had never talked to each other about su work before, but all three tenían very good jobs que would likely be even better in the time to come. El biggest good change que ellos podrían hacer soon sería an easy one, moving a un new home. Ellos needed un place que fuera smaller and cost less que su home now, que Gregor had chosen. It also needed to be in un better place and most importantly, ser más useful for ellos. Todo este time, Grete was becoming más full of life. Because ellos had been worrying for some time, el color in su face was gone. Pero si ellos were talking, Mr. and Mrs. Samsa both tuvieron el same thought at the same time. Su daughter was growing into una strong and good-looking young woman. Ellos became más quiet. They looked at each other, and without saying anything, ellos both knew they were thinking the same thing, que soon sería time to find un good man para ella. Y fue como una sign de que sus new hopes and good thoughts were right. When ellos got to la place al que iban, Grete fue la first one to stand up and stretch out su young buddy.